Uh,
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our latest episode of Toaster Talk on the Toast Network. We also have the founder of the Toast Network in place with us. He has not been following F1 at all. So we will start off with asking him, who do you think won today?
I believe it must be Max. No one else is winning, right?
Everyone knows the Formula One story this year so far. Max Verstappen breaking the record of Vettel to win 10 consecutive F1 races, and who knows how many more he'll be winning before his streak is broken. At Monza, Ferrari's home track, it did seem like this Saturday that things could change, but at the end of it, it was Max leading the way. But we did have some more exciting things for which I'll have Vignesh and Prathik who have joined us. Welcome aboard, guys, to tell us what happened today or this weekend at Monza. Hey, Vignesh. Hey, Prathik.
Hi Vivek.
hi, Vivek.
It's been a while since we've got this motley crew. Uh, the last time they all came along, Max was still winning. He's still winning, but this Saturday, Sainz got the pole position, which meant he was starting off. Verstappen was sandwiched for a change between two Ferraris. I don't know when was the last time we saw something like that. But Vignesh, what are your thoughts from this weekend's race?
Yeah, so going to this weekend's race, Monza, I really wanted the Monza curse to take into effect. For those who don't know what a Monza curse is, for the last 4 years, the person who has been winning the race last year has been crashing out or unable to complete the race this year. And I really wanted that so that the streak of Sebastian Vettel remains alive, that is 9 consecutive races. Fortunately, or I would say unfortunately, that streak was the Monza streak also broke, and so did Sebastian Vettel's streak. But yeah, the best thing which I found out of qualifying is that Ferraris are back, and Mercedes were able to secure both their drivers till 25.
Yep. I mean, we did have, even with all the drama, while the final results kind of show an RB 1-2, Ferrari 3-4, and the Mercedes 5-6, there was a lot of drama that played out today. And Pratik, what were your thoughts from this weekend's race?
This race will primarily be remembered for the way Science drove today, right? Even at the first stretch, at the second stretch, as much as he could, he tried to prevent the, like, first it was Max Verstappen, then it was Checo Perez from overtaking him. I felt he drove really well. Another person that we would want to talk about is also about Alex Albon, right? Not that often we see Williams in top 10, at least in the last couple of years. So again, he also drove really well. And of course, I'll also give a little bit credit to Hamilton for finally, at least from 10th, he at least managed to be in the top five, right? Top six.
Yep. No, it was a good day for a lot of players and not so good day. Maybe we'll have the reverse Monza this time around and Sonoda winning the Monza next year because he was the one who did not finish even before the race started today, which led to two aborted starts, which is something we haven't seen too often. And that probably put Sainz on his nerves for having to figure out how he's going to, have Verstappen right behind him and continue to keep him behind him. And as Pratik mentioned, I think some brilliant defensive driving today by Sainz doesn't show up in the results. I mean, he did get a podium, which is a big deal at Monza, and you could see that how big a deal it is the way both the Ferraris were fighting. I mean, the last lap, they could have probably just knocked themselves out and given George Russell the seat in the podium. But I think the no hands barred fighting that they had today showed the spirit of Ferrari that we've been wanting to see them with all the other vehicles around them, but they've just not been able to do that. But today was refreshing from that perspective. Arijit, what are your thoughts with respect to the racing circuit that we've had this year? Obviously, Max is leading the way, but who would you be rooting for the rest of the year to kind of see how things play out.
Ferraris have been impressive, is what I can make out. But Mercedes has also been means like struggling. Means like I do follow the results time to time. But whatever happened to Alonso, he was their top gun in the first race, and after that, I believe uh, his form and that of the form of this also has dropped. But someone I really look forward to improving over a period of time would be definitely Russell from Mercedes. I would love to see him up here in come at least on the podium. I hope he gets a better car, and from there, let's see whether he can do justice to my expectations at least.
Yeah, I mean, for a track which is not a favorite for them, that's what Alonso was racing his own race, saying this isn't where I'm going to play my games. Russell did decently well. I mean, he was close to a podium if both the Ferraris had wiped themselves out, uh, which would have been really embarrassing at the home ground. But yeah, that said, I think Albon, as Pratik mentioned, was Williams have been doing decently well. And when I say Williams, I should probably specify mainly Albon, who's done really well so far. Sargent is rookie year. He's still finding his way around. But Vignesh, what are your thoughts on how Williams has done? And obviously, Albon had a great play today.
Yeah, so considering that, okay, Albon, when he was in Red Bull, right, he was still showing some defensive maneuvers. Today's was a world-class defense, I would say, considering Norris is not a person with whom you can easily defend. He has tricks up his straight. He knows the breaking points. He has won races. So considering a rookie to a person who is actually defending a race winner, I would say, yeah, pretty well job done by Albert. Considering that, okay, see, straight line speed, Williams had it, their package is generally supports straight line speed, and they were able to maintain it. Is shows that, okay, how well integrated Williams package is and how they have come to the fore in the last few years when they were a back marker, and now you show that, okay, they are doing a tremendous improvement. The person who I actually really wanted to speak about today is one who has just had two races this entire season and yet has nailed qualifying after qualifying. His first qualifying P12, second qualifying P11. He finishes the race just below P10, and that shows that AlphaTauri has actually put a good guy into the seat. Probably, I would say his performance might inspire AlphaTauri to kick one of their drivers out, which they are used to, but only time will tell. Daniel Ricciardo, with this, I would say he's at a risk of
There's
losing
going to
it.
be a full Game of Thrones over there, by the way.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think Lawson's had a brilliant spell. Today he was in the points almost till the end, but that was more of the pit stops that other teams had taken much later. And even though it was a one-stop strategy, tire degradation was the biggest talking point, I would say, in today's race. Sainz was pessimistic about making it to the end. Hamilton was pessimistic about making it to the end. They did make it, but Pratik, from your perspective, how much does tire strategy play a role in defining the final results of a race?
One small thing before talking about this, right? We were discussing about Alex Albon a couple of seconds back, right? If you look at it in the last about 6 to 7 races, at least in 4 of them, he has been in the top. At least he has come 7 or 8 a couple of times, right? Compared to that, if you look at his teammate, he has still been 17, 18, 19, whatever, right? So it is not just the car, it is he's also pushing it to its limit to be able to achieve this, right? Coming to tire degradation, I mean, each driver had a different strategy, right? So if you see, at least Hamilton, he for a large part of the time he was the last to pit, right? And then after that he changes tires. Same was the case in case of Carlos Sainz. The problem was he was driving his car to the limits because both the times people were behind him. Because you see, moment those people overtake, he suddenly slowed down. He said, let me protect my tires, because he knew that he has used the tire to max possible every single time, braking just at the right moment when he had to brake so as to prevent people from overtaking. So yeah, I mean, it is important that you need to keep a good what you call, you need to maintain your tires well. Otherwise, every pit stop adds like a 20-second to your time limit, right? So that literally brings you a lot lower. So uh, yeah, tire management is important.
Yeah, and
Just
that
to
play.
add on to that point, okay. The
Yeah, good.
Yeah, just to add on to the point, the last lap, if you see the drama, Sainz was precariously slow. And Crofty said that it was just the tire trick which was actually affecting him. And probably Leclerc could have passed him and got the podium. So that was the importance of tire deck.
Yep, and even to that point, Albon's tires were pretty much ribbons towards the end. He barely scraped through, but he's got a decent package this year with respect to straight line differential between or deltas between cars. Williams is considered to be one of the best versus McLaren is supposed to be one of the worst. So if you're in a DRS train, you don't want a Williams in front of you, but you want a McLaren behind you. And that's what really played out between Albon and Norris today. Best of friends off the track, maybe not so much on the track. I'm going to turn things around, and I'm going to ask Arijit to ask us a question that he has on the Formula One season this year. You're on mute right now.
So who came second today?
Yeah, I guess that's also pretty obvious, at least in the last couple of races. Can you take a guess?
Maybe the bull is red again.
Yep, you're right.
Yep, it was yet another Red Bull 1-2.
But Vivek, tell me, does that not annoy the fans of Formula One? Like, do you see there's a means like the fan base trickling down because the races are becoming so predictable, or at least the podium is becoming so predictable?
So I would divide fan bases into two groups: before Drive to Survive and after Drive to Survive. So 2020, 2021, I think there was just so much drama that happened in F1, which we are not used to. And a lot of Drive to Survive based fan base joined at that time. So, they brought over the drama that came on and they said, hey, this is great. So that group is probably weaning off F1 as they realize the drama drying out. If you have been here before Drive to Survive, this isn't too different from what F1 we have seen historically, right? We have seen times of great domination by a certain team or a certain driver at the top, while there is a lot of changes happening in the midfield. And then, rules change, there is transitions. You see a little fight in the transition phase as teams try to figure out. And then you again see domination playing out either by a driver or a team. And because there's a combination of driver, the car, the engineering behind the car, and the strategy, I think, and now I think this year there's also been a lot of the weather factor also playing in. There's a lot of ifs and buts that kind of keep long-term F1 fans engaged. While we wish for a lot more excitement, we sort of end up finding excitement from things that others would be like, hey, you just saw Max win, but how are you guys able to do a podcast on this?
Yeah, also I guess if we leave this question of who won, right? And to some extent who came second, the positions from say third to I guess sixth or seventh has been really exciting race after race, right? Initial couple of races we were so excited to see Alonso suddenly come and suddenly becoming the number three, right? Then we had some races where we suddenly felt that, oh no, McLaren has found their groove. not McLaren, I would say Mercedes has found the groove. Then it went to, okay, now McLaren are doing, I've suddenly found their groove. And at least if you ignore the top two, it has been really close and really exciting. Uh, I mean, one thing that I was also checking today is that probably by the next race or maybe one more race max. I mean, we know that Max Verstappen is gonna be crowned as the world champion, because there's so much difference between him and others that that it's inevitable. But if you ignore him, even Checo hasn't been like, oh wow, right? The gap between him and the third guy, and now I know Alonso has again started not performing great. I mean, they weren't able to upgrade their car well enough over the through the season, but at least the difference still isn't that huge.
Yep, I mean,
I would like to contradict. I would
go
like
ahead.
to just contradict. Considering, see, I had started watching F1 during the Schumacher era, and I do believe that okay, I do concur with what Vivek said that okay, F1 traditionally had this period where one team is performs better than the other. But then we never had such a dominance. During Schumacher's time, you see, you have DC, you had Mika Hakkinen giving him tough competitions and not like giving him a straight bull runs every time. With Vettel, you had Lewis Hamilton, you had his teammate Button pushing him. Even that time, Kimi was also pushing Vettel during his time of dominance. And then you come to the Mercedes era, and you see, you had Nico Rosberg like peltering him. And the Ferraris were not that behind. You never had one team winning all the 14 races. You had a mixed bag. And from that point of view, I would say the traditional enthusiast in me feels that okay, it has been too monotonous. Not because the sport is designed in this way, but it's because one team has far superior advantage where there is no competition to them ever. And this has never been a case with F1. Be it during Ayrton Senna's time, you had Prost challenging him. Be it during Niki Lauda's time, you had James Hunt challenging him. There were drivers who were challenging these so-called force majeure. And this is what I'm not able to see during these few years. And probably that might drive a few fans away saying that, okay, the Schumacher era, the Hamilton era was better. You had much more competition. But then it's a sport. We have to accept it and move ahead.
No, I guess the initial 3-4 years of Mercedes dominance, it was similar, right?
No,
Not
they
to
never,
that extent.
see, that's the point. Mercedes never went 14 races. They were always challenged by Ferraris. Red Bull was challenging them. There was a time when Ricardo and Verstappen's combo was challenging them, and
I mean, this is obviously a record-breaking year,
Vettel
which
and
means the
Kimi
type of dominance
challenging
that they
them.
have.
It's back. Agreed. Mercedes had a domination. I'm sure domination.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it might very well end with all races being won by Red Bull.
True. In fact, the
Yeah.
only thing which I was happy about not Red Bull 13 laps this season.
Yeah, so much has been Red Bull's dominance.
Yes.
Okay, with that, we actually move on to Singapore. Do you think the tides can change over there? One of the first night circuits.
No, I at least I doubt it'll be Verstappen, or if something happens, then it'll be Perez.
No, I'm sure Red Bull won't be able to win Singapore. Not that my predictions always ever come right, but yeah, I would love to see them crash out or something like that of sorts happening, because there have been instances when they used to crash out. I believe in 21, 22, we have in 21 at least we had situations, and Like Max used to means like fans did allege that Max tried to crash into Hamilton. I hope someone has those guts to do the same with Hamilton. At least make it interesting for other people, other cars on the circuits or the other teams. But yeah, it would be a little bit more interesting if we get to see some excitement coming over there, a new car winner, and hopefully the streak coming to an end.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a tighter track from that perspective. Provides an opportunity for others to close in. Today, Hamilton did have a repeat incident, but this time it was him and PS3. To just get memories from that Verstappen Hamilton era. Today was much cleaner when Verstappen had to swipe by.
We are still 2 to 3 months away from the final races, right? And means like no,
Yes.
and means like it will be very annoying that if the race gets over by another, if the tournament is all over by all over and dusted by another 2 races to go. So I don't think so. Means it helps the cause of F1 also in that respect.
But I
It's
mean,
my
I would
opinion.
say, I mean, irrespective of all of that, right? Like, I think we should celebrate the fact that Red Bull has been able to, in the combination with Max Verstappen, establish such dominance this year. Now, it's not a case of multiple years. They've been getting to this point. This is obviously utter dominance that they have shown this year. The man has give him whatever. Like just take last weekend's race, right? Dutch Grand Prix, home ground pressure. The weather did everything that it could to throw it at him. All the scenarios, but he still came up top out of that. So I think we should, while I agree that monotonous dominance is scary for the sport in the long run, and we should also celebrate the excellence that they're bringing about, right?
Right.
It's kind of like if I take an
Yeah,
analogy
true.
from cricket with the Australian dominance for a bit, or you get into tennis where you had, and you know, the excitement of seeing everyone else pushing themselves to come close to beating this person, and that sweet moment when someone will actually beat, because no one has ever dominated forever. We've seen that transition. I think it'll be a lot more sweeter when that happens, and that anticipation is what everyone here is waiting for. But with that, I would like to hear
Sure.
out final thoughts from everyone before we meet together again at Singapore. On what are you looking forward
Yeah,
to the rest of the season?
yeah, Vivek. I just conclude by saying, as a car enthusiast, right, I do love the Red Bull dominance, but I do feel bad that Red Bull, being a soft drink company, is dominating a sport where the automobile manufacturers are suffering pathetically. And that shows that money can do anything and everything. It's just the money pumping and not the actual automotive excellence taken into account. In putting that into perspective, I would say that I would really want an automobile manufacturer to challenge Red Bull and show that it's always the automobile manufacturers who dominate the F1 and not any other
Mm.
companies which are not even related to the automobile industry.
But it's still automobile. It's not like they're using Red Bull cans to run the show, right?
Yeah.
No, no, but
Uh,
still, right? See, Red Bull don't have their car division. They don't have anything. They just have. They are basically an adventure sports company.
But Vignesh, on that note, I have not been very praiseworthy of Red Bull, but don't you think that it helps the sport more that means everything at the end of the day is a branding game, and the kind of capital you are building in and the kind of team you are building and the kind of dynamics you are creating, which others will learn from. It need not be from the traditional companies only. So I think in that respect, what Red Bull has done is something brilliant. They might not be an automobile company, but they bring that energy. If you see even the whole thing of them coming as a drink, on a drink as as a soft drink, they challenged the traditional drinks like Coke and Pepsi, and they made a mark. So I think they are they're doing something that over here also, and that's something I, as a someone as a sports fan, would appreciate, okay, that might not be my field of dominance, but I'm coming here and still dominating others. That is interesting, irrespective of the money involved.
Yeah,
No,
true. That
also two other things. One is, I mean, this is not a team that they built from scratch, right? This is, if my memory goes right, either Minardi, which then became Sauber, and it is that team continuing. So they do have a legacy of building fast cars. Not just that, I mean, Honda has been their partner for engine and all that stuff. So all this while, so it's not that they're not entirely not I would say away from Formula One, as in like not Formula One,
Automotive
but
engineering.
yeah, automotive engineering. But yeah, I mean, they have been able to, however, build a dominance. I feel it is more like the technical regulations keep changing every couple of years, right? So for this regulation, they managed to build a car which works great to the whatever the parameters that are there for this terms regulation. I know in 2025, I guess the new set of regulations come into picture, but till then, I don't expect anybody else to come and dominate. Yeah, and also for all practical purposes, I mean, it's what you call Verstappen has won this year's drivers championship. Just that only Perez is the only one, I guess, if you look at actually points tables, who can overtake him. Uh, but yeah, for all practical purposes,
Just
he's already the
mathematically on paper.
right. No, unless and until he crashes in the next race, he has like a really bad crash, and that is the only way where he can't.
Well, that's
true.
it for a guy who's done
Singapore
everything right this
crashes
year,
are
that the only way people think he can lose out is if he crashes out.
Yeah,
yeah. Singapore is a
crashes out
site
for the
to circuit.
remainder of the season.
Yeah, like I don't think so. Like even if like Max Verstappen is like goes away from Formula One, takes a sabbatical break, still he'll win the championship.
No, I guess he still needs to win one more race. If he wins the next race, then he can literally take a sabbatical.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been doing that on the track anyways, but we will close out on that thread because the man has done his domination as it is and will continue to do so this year, but we'll see how things change the next year. With that, I do want to thank everyone around for coming in for this show. Uh, Ferrari's home ground, they did much better than what we thought they would. Some excitement over there. We've seen highlights from the various drivers. Albon, who by the way has a regional connect with Red Bull Origins, but we'll keep that for our next episode. Uh, Doing really well. And let's see what Singapore plays out for our drivers and for the fans alike. With that, again, Vignesh, Arijit, and Pratik, thanks a lot for being on the show. For all our viewers, thank you for viewing in. Put in your comments if you're watching us on YouTube. Drop us a note if you're listening to us on Spotify. And please share, like, and subscribe the Toast Network. Good night.
thank you.
Yeah,